October 2002. Hundreds of young tourists enjoy a tropical island resort. Then, massive explosions rip through the packed nightclubs. The bombings claim 202 lives. Now, using advanced computer simulation, we reveal exactly what happened in the Bali bombings. Behind every disaster lies a chain of critical events that decides who lives and who dies. Unravel the fateful moments in those final seconds from disaster. Southeast Asia, Indonesia, the island of Bali. Bali's tropical breezes blow in vacationers from all over the world. It's the #1 holiday destination for Australians, reached by a 3-hour hop across the Indian Ocean from their west coast. October 12th, 2002. October is one of Bali's busiest months, and most tourists head for its biggest resort, Kuta Beach. 3 generations of the Kemp family arrived from Perth, Australia. 31-year-old Tracy Ball saved all year for this break, and she's delighted to have her younger sister, Melinda, along. Tracy's daughter, 5-year-old Brianna, brims with excitement. It's her first overseas trip. And Grandma and Grandpa Kemp will be close by in the apartment next door. Indonesia has the world's largest Muslim population, with 210 million followers. But on the island of Bali, Hindus outnumber Muslims by almost 20 to 1. The two faiths have lived in harmony for centuries. Abdulaziz, alias Samudra, performs his ritual cleansing for the first call to prayer. He's a devout Muslim, but his motives are far from the non-violent teachings of the Islamic faith. He's a homegrown Indonesian terrorist, in Bali to command a group of fanatics intent on causing death and destruction. 12 o'clock, midday. Perth, Australia. 20 young men from a local football team head out to Bali. This is footage of their trip. 25-year-old Ben Clohesi and his teammates are looking forward to 2 weeks of sun, sea, and socializing.
100 different libidos, basically all pumped, ready to go.
7:30 p.m. Saturday night. And sisters Tracy and Melinda are looking forward to an evening of fun. Meanwhile, Samudra's terrorists prepare their deadly weapons. They load a white Mitsubishi van with 1 ton of explosives. 9:30 p.m. As the sun goes down, Kuta Beach lights up with neon as the club scene comes to life. Melinda and Tracy arrive at one of Legian Street's most popular hotspots, the Sari Club. It's already hopping. The Australian footballers roll up at the Sari Club. 25-year-old Ben Clohesi is ready for his first taste of Bali's nightlife. 11:01 p.m. Now, the explosive-packed van stops right outside the Sari Club. A second terrorist jumps out and heads for his target, Paddy's Bar. He makes his way inside through the crowd of Western tourists. Then, suddenly, a terrifying explosion rips through Legian Street. People partying in the Sari Club hear a huge bang outside. Many of them flock onto Legian Street to see what's happened. It brings them within meters of the terrorists' explosive-packed white Mitsubishi van. 15 seconds after the first blast. A second colossal explosion rips through Legian Street. It kills dozens outside and inside the Sari Club instantly. Within seconds, a raging inferno traps hundreds. Flames also engulf victims trapped in vehicles caught in the traffic jam. Inside the club, the party atmosphere is transformed into a scene of carnage and devastation. Tracy Ball is buried under a stack of rubble. She feels people walking over her as they rush to escape the inferno. Desperately, Tracy digs herself out of the debris. But there's no sign of her younger sister, Melinda. Footballer Ben Clohessy drags himself out from under the rubble and starts to search for his teammates amidst the carnage. Ben can't find them, but instead of trying to escape the blaze, he starts to help other people. He leads two survivors to the only area of the blazing club that looks free of flames. But he finds that a 4.5-meter high wall blocks their path. He summons all his strength and starts to heave people to safety. While survivors head for the only part of the club not in flames, 31-year-old Tracy Ball is still desperately searching for her missing sister, Melinda. As flames rain down from the burning roof, Tracy thinks of her 5-year-old daughter, Brianna, and realizes she must make a terrible choice. If she stays, she'll die, leaving her 5-year-old daughter motherless. She makes her decision. Thinking fast, she finds a beam to use as a makeshift ladder and clambers to the top of the 2-meter high wall. Tracy makes it as far as the curb outside the club. All around her, rescuers struggle to help people amid the chaos. Then, emerging out of the mayhem of Leggy Ann Street, Tracy's father appears. He heard the blast from the apartment and raced to the club to look for his daughters.
My dad came in that instant and found me and said, "Tracy, oh my God, where's Melinda?"
1 a.m., nearly 2 hours since the blast. Tracy ends up in a tiny local hospital. She suffered third-degree burns, mostly to her back. She's alive, but needs urgent surgery. Despite staying in the blazing club to help people, Ben Clohessy escapes with only minor burns. Hundreds of people are missing. Among them, Tracy's 25-year-old sister, Melinda. Her distraught father, Ron Kemp, scours every clinic and hospital in Kuta Beach. The search takes him to a small private hospital. There, he finds Melinda. She's alive. The blast knocked her out, and she has no idea how she escaped the club. Miraculously, she only has minor injuries. 5 a.m. As Tracy is wheeled out of surgery, the sisters are finally reunited. Over the next 3 days, Indonesian rescuers continue to pull bodies from the rubble. The death count eventually reaches 202. News of the disaster shocked the world.
Mysterious, deadly bombings tonight in Indonesia.
It's been just 13 months since 9/11. Many suspect that this is the work of Al-Qaeda. But why is the peaceful island of Bali a target? Now, by rewinding the events of that fateful day and by going deep into the investigation, we can reveal what really happened that night in Bali. reveals the extent of the devastation. The damage zone stretches across 28 hectares. The Indonesian National Police appoints General E8 Pastika as its chief investigator. But Pastika knows that he has neither the manpower nor the forensic experience to investigate a disaster on this scale.
We understand and realize now that our technology is very far left behind.
Pastika turns to the Australian Federal Police, or AFP, in Canberra for help. The force puts forward AFP veteran Graham Ashton as joint investigator. Within 24 hours, Ashton and his team of 140 experts head for Bali. But detectives based at Bali's police HQ soon get their first lead. A report from the US Consulate, 11 kilometers northeast of Legian Street. The consul claims he heard firecrackers going off less than a minute after the Legian Street blast. But what the forensic team find in front of the building tells a more sinister story. A wrecked stretch of curb and the remains of a mobile phone. Both test positive for the high explosive TNT. The evidence suggests a small device remotely detonated by phone. Eyewitness reports reveal that as well as the US consulate bomb, there were 2 explosions in Legian Street. The investigation team start to comb the 28-hectare blast zone for evidence that might lead to the killers. And after just 2 weeks, there's a major setback. Local officials are in a tough spot. They're under pressure from Kuta Beach's predominantly Hindu residents to clear the blast site. These local Hindus believe that the ghosts of blast victims haunt the area. The officials tell the Australian and Indonesian investigators their time is up.
The bulldozers are wanting to clean the street up. And so if you want to get any more samples, you've got 2 hours.
Behind the scenes, Indonesian and Australian investigators alike negotiate for more time. After a day of argument, they finally strike a deal. The investigators get just 2 more weeks to scour the site for clues. After that, the bulldozers will be back. Meanwhile, detectives interview hundreds of eyewitnesses. Many claim they saw a white Mitsubishi van parked outside the Sari Club just before the explosion. There's now a 60-centimeter deep crater where the van once stood. And it's at the epicenter of the blast zone. It's clear to investigators that a bomb inside the van destroyed the Sari Club. But who owned the van? To find out, investigators need to locate the remains of the van itself. Then, after 4 days of searching, a team member makes a remarkable discovery. Across the street from the Sari Club is a 2-story bank. On its roof, he finds a piece of chassis 1.5 meters long. By analyzing the impact damage, the experts can work out how far it was from the explosion. The tests prove the piece of chassis is from the white van. The scientists scour every centimeter of it and find something stamped into the metal. It could be the van's registration number, a crucial lead to its owner. But it's completely illegible. The terrorists filed down the number so that it couldn't be traced. The team's first big find ends in disappointment. But the joint Indonesian and Australian team refuse to give up. They try a different tack. If they can discover what the bomb was made of, they may be able to trace people who bought large quantities of the relevant chemicals. They focus on the chemical fingerprints at the crime scene. But there's a problem. The explosions severed water mains, so that any chemical residue was washed away down gutters and drains. Investigators can't find any trace of suspicious chemicals. Then, one of the team has a bright idea. The blast could have blown chemicals hundreds of meters from the scene, leaving traces way above ground level. The team races to swab the leaves of trees, signposts, even telephone lines within 60 meters of the explosion. Then, finally, their persistence pays off. A leaf from a tree inside the zone supplies a crucial clue. It tests positive for potassium chlorate. It's a promising lead. Detectives on the team start to track the purchase and delivery paths of large quantities of potassium chlorate. The hunt is on. Time is running out. They must still find out what happened inside Paddy's Bar where 20 people died. The forensic team works day and night to search through the mountain of debris in the ruined club. Then Chief Forensic Scientist David Royds spots something.
My eyes fell upon this little bit of copper wire that was no more than 5 centimetres long. Just jumped out at me like that was like pure gold.
He runs tests on it and finds traces of the high explosive TNT. He concludes that it is a piece of bomb detonating wire. To find the epicenter of the blast, Royds devises an ingenious experiment. Tracing back from the explosion's impact points, he creates a spiderweb of string. Where the strings intersect reveals the exact place where the bomb went off. It's 1 meter off the ground.
So at this stage, we started to think that this could well be a suicide bomber.
On the ceiling, directly above the blast epicenter, Royds finds a cluster of human tissue. He takes a batch of samples and conducts DNA tests. The DNA all belongs to one person. The team also finds fragments of fabric radiating out around the epicenter. They're an exact match for fibers found on the detonating wire. Investigators now know exactly what caused the 3 explosions on the night of October the 12th. But they're no closer to catching the bombers. But Chief Indonesian Investigator General E8 Pastika refuses to admit defeat.
No crime is perfect. They must leave some evidences and we can trace. I was very optimistic.
6 days before the investigators' deadline, Pastika orders his team to re-examine the 1.5-meter section of chassis from the exploded van. When the team re-examined the piece of chassis, they found a piece of metal 4 centimeters long welded onto it. When they remove it, they discover the vehicle identification number. Investigators search through vehicle records. They quickly track down the last person to buy it. His name is Amrozi. He's already known to authorities as a member of Jemaah Islamiyah, a terrorist network linked to Al-Qaeda. On November 5th, 2002, Indonesian police arrest him. Amrozi confesses. Within weeks, police arrest several of Amrozi's accomplices. Among them, Samudra, the mastermind behind the plot. The men confess to the cold-blooded murder of 202 innocent people. Their confessions allow the investigation team to put together the missing pieces of the puzzle. It reveals what really happened on the night of the Bali bombings. Why terror came to paradise and left holidaymakers and local people seconds from disaster. December 2001. a JI plot to bomb the US Embassy in Singapore is foiled by police. A month later, the group changes its strategy of targeting Western embassies. Now its followers will attack soft targets, bars and clubs frequented by Western tourists. October 6th, 6 days to disaster. At a rented house in Denpasar, the JI terrorists start making the Sari Club bomb. 2 hours to disaster. The terrorists have loaded the Mitsubishi van. It now contains 1 ton of potassium chlorate mixture, packed into 12 filing cabinets connected by detonating cord. 1 minute to disaster. The first suicide bomber, a young Indonesian known as Ferry, walks into Paddy's bar. When he reaches the packed dance floor, he hits the detonator. Just 15 seconds later, a second suicide bomber, 24-year-old Arneson, hits the switch on the van bomb. "40 seconds later, the terrorists use a phone to detonate the device planted some 3 hours earlier outside the US consulate. It announces to the world that the Bali bombings are an attack on America and its allies. Australian tourists, Melinda and Tracy, were lucky to survive. But back home in Perth, they wonder how the unconscious Melinda escaped the blazing Sari Club. The question spreads through Perth, Australia. Who saved the girl in the pink dress? Word reaches 25-year-old footballer Ben Clohessy. He recalls helping an unconscious blonde girl over the wall and realizes it was Melinda. He visits Melinda to tell her the story.
Meeting Ben was just like meeting, a saint. He had saved my life, and it's so hard to describe, how do you feel when you meet someone that saved your life?
Several Western governments, including Australia, admit to receiving intelligence before the bombings that JI was planning to attack Westerners in Southeast Asia. The US and Australia issued warnings to its tourists to be cautious when traveling around the world. But Australians who lost loved ones want to know why they weren't warned of the specific danger of travel to Indonesia. The investigation of the Bali bombings accelerated intelligence gathering on Jemaah Islamiyah by an estimated 3 years. The US, Japan, and Australia now work together to help Southeast Asian countries monitor and combat the continuing threat of terror in the region.